Hey everyone, welcome to the online program of Amrita IAS Academy. My name is Sibi Joy, and as part of our monthly current affairs MCQ series, this is part 2B of August 2020. So without any delay, we'll go into the questions. Which of the following are currently matched? Defense of weapon system and function role. 1. Pinaka aircraft carrier, 2. Akash rocket launcher, 3. Tejas multirole fighter, and 4. Varnastra hypersonic missile system. Choose the correct code. Option A 1, 2 and 4 only, option B 1 and 3 only, option C 2, 3 and 4 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, I would say that the third statement, Tejas as a multi-role fighter, is right. So looking at that, I'd say that options A 1, 2 and 4 only can be eliminated because it does not have the 3 in that. And Pinaka is not an aircraft carrier. We'll be learning about the major defense or weapon systems of India and what their role is while preparing for the civil services examination, both for the prelims and the mains. So you'll know that the Pinaka is not an aircraft carrier, but rather it's a rocket launcher. So taking that into account, I can say the first statement is also absolutely wrong. Remove the first statement, you are left with option C and D, that is 2, 3 and 4 only, and option D 3 only. And now we just need to check whether option 2 and 4 are right. Option 2, Akash rocket launcher, is the Akash is not a rocket launcher, but rather it is a surface to air missile system. So taking that into account, I can say the second statement is also wrong. Remove that too, you are left with just one option. Option D, Tejas, is a multi-role fighter, or option D 3 only, and that is the right answer. So do not worry even if you are not aware of what they are and what is their function. But while learning about this, you learn about the major defense systems of India and what their primary function is. And even if you don't know about this question, take this chance to read about the explanation and remember this for your future. So we'll go into the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because Pinaka is a multiple rocket launcher produced in India and developed by the DRDO for the Indian Army. Statement 2 is not correct because Akash is a medium range mobile surface to air missile system developed by DRDO and produced by Bharat Dynamics Limited for missile systems, Bharat Electronics Bell, Tata Power Strategic Engineering Division, Lars and Tubro for other radars, control centers, launcher systems in India. So this is the explanation for Akash missile. Let's go for the next statement. Statement 3 is correct. The HAL Tejas is an Indian single engine 4th generation multi-role light fighter designed by the Aeronautical Development Agency, or ADA, in collaboration with the Aircraft Research and Design Center, or ARDC, of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, for the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. The fourth statement is not correct because Varunastra is an Indian advanced heavyweight anti-submarine torpedo developed by the Naval Science and Technological Laboratory, or the NSTL, of the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, for the Indian Navy. So that is the explanation for these weapon systems and what is their major role. Hope you all understood this. We'll go for the next question. In context of the India Investment Grid, or IIG, consider the following statements. 1. It is an interactive and dynamic online platform to showcase the best of investment opportunities in India to the global investor community. 2. It is developed and managed by Invest India. 3. It allows investors to directly communicate with project promoters. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 1, 2 and 3 only. So looking at this, I can say that it is an interactive and dynamic online platform to showcase the best of investment opportunities in India to the global investor community. That is the idea behind the India Investment Grid, and it is developed and managed by Invest India. So both of these statements are something which we will be learning about while learning about the India Investment Grid. The third statement, it allows investors to directly communicate with the project promoters. Yes, that is one of the major advantages of the India Investment Grid. So I'd go with the answer that option D 1, 2 and 3 only to be the right answer. Even if you're not aware about this, you can take this opportunity to learn about it. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is correct because IIG is an interactive and dynamic online platform to showcase the best of investment opportunities in India to the global investor community. Statement 2 is correct because developed and managed by Invest India, the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency. IIG serves as a gateway to investments in India and is also widely used by Indian missions and embassies across the world. Invest India was set up in 2009 as a non-profit venture under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for the Government of India. The third statement is also right because IIG allows investors to search a pan-India database for investment opportunities across the sectors and track the progress of preferred projects and indicate interest and directly communicate with the project promoters, which will help them to invest money more easily in India. So that is the explanation for India Investment Grid. I hope you all understood this. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about sunspots. 1. It is an area on the sun that appears dark on the surface and is relatively warmer than the surrounding parts. 2. Sunspots are the areas where the star's magnetic field is the strongest. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D none of the above. So looking at this, I can say that the first statement has a mistake, that it is an area on the sun that appears dark on the surface and is relatively warmer. It is not relatively warmer but relatively cooler than the surrounding parts. So that is one of the defining features about sunspots. So I'll say the first statement is wrong. In the second statement, sunspots are the areas where the star's magnetic field is strongest. Yes, that statement is right, because with regards to sunspots, these are areas where the magnetic field is extremely high. So I'd go with the option B 2 only to be the right answer. Even if you are not aware about sunspots, take this opportunity to learn about sunspots. We'll look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because a sunspot is an area on the sun that appears dark on the surface and is relatively cooler than the surrounding parts. The statement 2 is correct because these are areas where the star's magnetic field is the strongest, around 2500 times more than the Earth's magnetic field. So that is the explanation for this question with regards to sunspots. I hope you all understood this. With this, we'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the HTT-40. It is a basic training aircraft. 2. India has procured it from Russia. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D none of the above. So the HTT-40 is a basic training craft of India, but India has not procured it from Russia, but rather India has indigenously developed it. So I'd say the second statement is wrong. Now you may ask, like, sir, when are we going to learn about this? We will be learning about the major acquirements or the acquisitions made by the Indian Armed Forces for the development and their role and their primary functions. So in that, we'll be learning about the HTT-42, and even if you are not aware about it, this was there in the news consistently with regards to new acquisitions by the Indian Armed Forces. So this is something which India has indigenously developed to act as a basic training aircraft. So in this case, I would say that option A 1 only is the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is A. Statement 1 is correct because the HAL HTT-40 is an Indian basic training aircraft. The statement 2 is not correct. It was developed and designed and developed by the Aircraft Research and Design Center ARDC and built by HAL. It will replace the Indian Air Force retired HP-232 Deepak as a basic trainer. So that is the explanation for the HTT-40. I hope you all try to remember which is indigenous and which is not indigenous, because it will help us to clear the exam more easily if such questions do come up. With this, we will go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Hindu Succession or Amendment Act of 2005. Hindu women's right to be a joint heir to the ancestral property depend on whether her father was alive or not when the law was enacted in 2005. 2. The law is applicable on Buddhists, Sikhs, Jains and followers of Arya Samaj, Brahmo Samaj, as they are considered as Hindus for the purposes of this law. 3. This law is in consonance with the right of equality as enshrined under Article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution of India. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, and option C 1 and 3 only, and option D all of the above. So looking at this, let's look at the first statement. Hindu women's right to be a joint heir to the ancestral property depend on whether her father was alive or not when the law was enacted in 2005. That seems to be a bit illogical, because if her father was alive in 2005, then they can get it, or if not, they can't get it. Or that seems to be a bit of an illogical statement, and that last part seems to make that statement highly controversial. So I would say the first statement to be wrong. Remove the first statement, you are left with just two options, option B 2 and 3 only, and both of the options 2nd and 3 seem to be in line with what they say about the Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2000. So let's look at the explanation. I'd go with option B 2 and 3 only to be the right answer. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because Hindu women's right to be a joint heir to the ancestral properties by birth and does not depend on whether her father was alive or not when the law was enacted in 2005. The Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2005 gave Hindu women the right to be co-parceners or joint legal heirs in the same way a male heir does. Since the co-parcenery is by birth, it is not necessary that the father co-parcener should be living as on 9/9/2005. The second statement is correct because this law applies to everyone who is not a Muslim, Christian, Parsi or Jew by religion, and Buddhists, Sikhs, Jains and followers of Arya Samaj, Brahmo Samaj are also considered Hindus for the purposes of this law. The third statement is correct because the Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2005 is in consonance with the right of equality as enshrined under Article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution of India. So that is the explanation for this question with regards to the Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2005. I hope you all understood this. With this, we'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Quit India movement. 1. It was a truly people-led movement in our freedom struggle. 2. Failure of cabinet mission plan led to launch of this movement. 3. The All India Muslim League, the princely states and the Hindu Mahasabha had actively participated in this movement. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, while we'll be learning about the Quit India movement as part of our Indian modern history, and we will be learning it for both our prelims, mains for the UPSC Civil Services examination. And one thing you will know about the Quit India movement is the third statement, All India Muslim League, the princely states and the Hindu Mahasabha did not actively participate. They did not participate very much in the Quit India movement. So I would say that the third statement is absolutely wrong. Let's remove the third statement. We are left with just two options, option A and B, that is 1 and 2 only, and option B 1 only. Now we have the option that first statement is right in both instances, that is, it was truly a people-led movement in our freedom struggle. So I'd say the first statement is right. The second statement, failure of cabinet mission plan led to the launch of this movement, is wrong. The cabinet mission plan came very later after the Quit India movement. So I'd say it's not the failure of the cabinet mission plan. The second statement to be wrong, I would go with option B, 1 only. So you will be learning about it as part of our history, and even if you don't know about it, look at the explanation, you will get more clarity about the Quit India movement. So I'll go with option B, 1 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is correct because on August 8, 78 years ago, Mahatma Gandhi gave the call for British colonizers to quit India and for the Indians to do or die to make this happen. Soon after, Gandhi and almost the entire top Congress leadership was arrested, and thus began a truly people-led movement in a freedom struggle, eventually quelled violently by the British. By August 9, Gandhi and all the senior Congress leaders had been jailed. Bapu was kept in the Aga Khan Palace in Pune and later in the Yerawada jail. The arrest of the leaders, however, failed to deter the masses. With no one to give directions, people took the movement into their own hands. The statement 2 is not correct because the failure of the Cripps mission made Mahatma Gandhi realize that freedom would be had only by fighting tooth and nail for it. Though initially reluctant to launch a movement that would hamper Britain's efforts to defeat the fascist forces in the World War, the Congress eventually decided to launch a mass civil disobedience, and at the working committee meeting in Wardha in August 1942, it was decided that the time had come for the movement to move into an active phase. The third statement is not correct because the British had the support of the Viceroy's Council, of the All India Muslim League, the princely states, the Indian Imperial Police, the British Indian Army, the Hindu Mahasabha and the Indian Civil Service. Many Indian businessmen profiting from heavy wartime spending did not support the Quit India movement. So that is the explanation for the Quit India movement. These are the major players involved in that, and this is the explanation for the question. I hope you all try to take this explanation as a way to learn about the Quit India movement. With this, we'll go for the next question. Between September 20, 2019 and August 31, 2020, India's foreign exchange reserves has grown by $106 billion, making it the fifth largest holder of reserves in the world. Which of the following factors have contributed in rise of forex reserves? 1. Robust export growth. 2. Dip in crude oil import. 3. High foreign portfolio investment. And 4. Ban on gold import. Choose the correct code. Option A 1, 2 and 4 only. Option B 2 and 3 only. Option C 1, 3 and 4 only. And option D 3 only. So looking at this, I can say that in this time period, India did not, there was no any dip in crude oil import, and neither was there any ban on gold import. So I can say that options 2 and 4 are wrong in this instance. If 2 and 4 are wrong, we are left with just one option, option D, 3 only. So why I'm saying that there was no dip in crude oil import? Because the crude oil prices actually reduced during this time, and India was importing more than sufficient amounts of crude oil. And gold import was also not reduced because India was also actually importing. One of the biggest importers of gold in the world is India, and robust export growth is not happening because India was not actually bringing about high import growth during this specific time period. We'll be learning about it while learning about the economic survey for the economy section of the UPSC Civil Services examination. But at the same time, the third statement, high foreign portfolio investment, seems to be right, and I would go with option D3 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Between September 28, 2019 and August 31, 2020, India's forex reserves have grown by $106 billion, making the fifth largest holder of reserves. And the following factors have contributed to the rise in forex reserves, that is the FPI or the foreign portfolio investment inflows. While start of the sharp rise in FPI inflows following the government decision in September to cut the corporate tax rate, between April and December 2019, FPIs plummeted in a net 15.1 billion according to the RBI. And dip in crude oil prices, India's oil import bill actually declined as the global spread of coronavirus since Feb 2020 not only roiled the stock markets but also led to a crash in the Brent crude oil prices. Crude oil accounts for almost 20% of India's total import bill. Brent crude oil prices fell to levels of $20 per barrel towards March end, and it further dropped and traded between $9 and $20 in April. Whereas in same year, Jan 2020, Brent crude oil was trading between $60 and $70 per barrel. And also import savings, lockdown across countries in response to COVID-19 impacted global trade and has resulted in sharp dip in exporting expenditure. That is electronics, gold and also crude oil prices are something which are not being happening. FDI inflows between September 2019 and March 2020, foreign FDI stood at nearly 23.88 billion. In April and May it amounted to 5.9 billion. Market experts say a lot of FDI has also come in June and August too, especially the rupees 1 lakh crore plus investment by global tech giants in geo platforms. Thus, FDI investment has been a significant contributor to the rise in foreign exchange reserves. So that is the explanation on what happened to the forex reserves for it to grow so much. Hope you all understood this, and we'll also be looking at the last point, that is the dip in gold imports. Gold, which was a big component for import component for India, witnessed a sharp decline in the quarter ended of June 2020 following the high prices and the lockdown imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. And according to the World Gold Council, gold imports plummeted by 95% to 11.6 tons in the quarter compared to 247 tons in the same period a year ago due to logistical issues and poor demand. The value of gold transacted during the June quarter fell to rupees 26,600 crore, down by 57% as compared to the 62,420 crore a year ago. So these are the multiple factors which has affected the forex reserves in India. I hope you all try to remember it. Even if you can't remember the facts, try to remember the major factors what has led to the change in forex reserves. And that is the explanation for this question. We'll go for our next question. Consider the following statements. 1. The National Disaster Management Authority is chaired by the Home Minister. 2. The National Disaster Response Force, or the NDRF, was established under the National Disaster Management Act of 2005. 3. NDRF functions under the purview of the Home Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, and is headed by the Home Minister. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1, 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So, National Disaster Management Authority is something we'll be learning about as part of our civil services examination, especially in polity. And with regards to a recent disasters that has been hitting the country with regards to the COVID pandemic, and before that the floods and the heat waves, we'll be learning about the National Disaster Management Authority definitely. And one thing you'll note while learning about that is we'll learn who's the chairperson, and whether it's a statutory body, it's a constitutional body, and comes under which ministry. In this case, I'd say the first statement is wrong because it is not chaired by the Home Minister, but rather the National Disaster Management Authority is chaired by the Prime Minister. Taking that into account, let's remove the statement 1 from the options. When you remove statement 1, you are left with just options B and D 2 only and option D 3 only. So either 2 is right or option 3 or the third statement is right. Looking at that, I can say the National NDRF was established under the Disaster Management Act of 2005, which is absolutely right. The third statement, NDRF functions under the purview of the Ministry of Home Affairs and is headed by the Home Minister, to be wrong because it does function under the purview of Ministry of Home Affairs, but it is not headed by the Home Minister. So let's remove the third statement. I'd go with option B 2 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because the NDMA is chaired by the Prime Minister. Statement 2 is correct because the NDMA Act of 2005 paved way for establishing disaster management authorities at the national, state and district levels, setting up of the National Disaster Response and Mitigation Funds, and formation of the NDRF. Third statement is not correct because NDRF functions under the purview of the Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, and is actually headed by the Director General of the National Disaster Response Force. It is not headed by the Union Minister. So this is an explanation about the National Disaster Management Authority and the NDRF too. I hope you all try to understand this and try to learn about it in case you are not aware of it. With this, we'll go for the next question. Which of the following criteria are used by the 15th Finance Commission to determine each state's share in central taxes? 1. Forest cover, 2. Demographic performance, 3. Tax efforts, 4. Population of 1971, and 5. Income distance. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1, 3 and 4 and 5, 1, 3, 4 and 5 only, option B 1, 2 and 5 only, option C 2, 3 and 5 only, and option D 3, 4 and 5 only. So while learning about the 15th Finance Commission, which was there in the news recently, one important fact to be noted is it does not look at the population of 1971, or the statement 4 can be eliminated. Remove statement 4, we are left with options B and C, that is 1, 2 and 5 only, and option C 2, 3 and 5 only. Automatically 2 and 5 are common for both, that is demographic performance and income distance are common for both of them. Now the only question is whether the forest cover is looked at or whether the third statement, tax efforts, are looked at. In this case, for the Finance Commission of 15th Finance Commission, it is the tax efforts being looked at, and I would go with option C 2, 3 and 5 only. Even if you are not aware about it, take the time to learn about the parameters of the 15th Finance Commission. We will be also looking at it in the explanation, and this will help you to make sure that if such a question comes, you will be able to handle it. So I'd go with option C 2, 3 and 5 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. Criteria for devolution of 2020 to 21 used by the Commission to determine each state's share in central taxes and the weight assigned to each criterion. They are income tax. For the 15th Financial Commission, that is income tax, population, area, forest and ecology, demographic performance, tax effort. Whereas for the 14th Finance Commission, it was income distance, population of 1971, population of 2011, area and forest cover. So that was the various parameters under which the 14th and the 15th Finance Commission worked. You can look at the table. And what exactly is income distance? It is the distance of the state's income from the state with the highest income. The income of a state has been computed as per average per capita GSDP during the 3-year period between 2015 to 16 and 2017 to 18. States with lower per capita would be given higher share to maintain equity. Demographic performance. The terms of reference of the Commission required to use the population data of 2011 while making recommendation, and hence they use the 2011 data, and this demographic performance criterion has been introduced to reward efforts made by states in controlling their population. It will be computed by using the reciprocal of the total fertility ratio of each state scaled by 1971 population data. States with a lower fertility ratio will be scored higher on this criterion. The total fertility ratio in a specific year is defined as the total number of children that would be born to each woman if she were to live at the end of her childbearing years and give birth to children in alignment with the prevailing age specific fertility rates. In forest and ecology, this criteria has been arrived at by calculating the share of dense forest of each state in aggregate dense forest of all the states. The tax effort. This criterion has been used to reward states with higher tax collection efficiency. It has been computed as the ratio of the average per capita own tax revenue and the average per capita state GDP during the 3-year period. That is, it's not the same 3-year period of the previous one, which is the income distance, but it is between 2014 to 50 and 2016 to 70. So it may seem to be a very big explanation, but try to learn the major criteria or the major parameters on which the 15th Finance Commission has determined its qualities or its features. Look into that, that should be more than enough. You can also read the explanation for more clarity. With this, we'll go for the next question. The Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, sometimes seen in news, is located in which of the following Indian state? A. Karnataka, B. Maharashtra, C. Chhattisgarh, and D. West Bengal. So it's an ABCD type of question, and we need to know the correct answer correctly to hit the answer on the spot perfectly. There is no option for elimination or anything. But at the same time, we'll be learning about the major tiger reserves, we'll be learning about the national parks, we'll be learning about the wildlife sanctuaries and the elephant reserves while preparing for the environment part of the UPSC civil service exam syllabus. So while you'll learn that the Tadoba Andheri Tiger Reserve is actually located in the state of Maharashtra in the district of Chandrapur. So we'll go with option B, Maharashtra, and let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. The Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve is a wildlife sanctuary in Chandrapur district of Maharashtra state in India. It is Maharashtra's oldest and largest national park. Created in 1955, the reserve includes the Tadoba National Park and the Andhari Wildlife Sanctuary. And Tadoba is taken from the name of the god Tadoba or Taru, worshipped by the tribes who lived in the dense forests of the Tadoba and the Andhari region, while Andhari refers to the Andhari river that meanders through the forest. So that is the explanation for the Tadoba Andhari Reserve. These are the major tribes and why the name was named as such, where it is located, which district and which state. I hope you all understood the explanation for this question. We'll go for the next question. The Global Forest Watch report is published by which of the following? A. World Resources Institute, B. United Nations Environment Programme, C. Food and Agriculture Organization, and D. International Food Policy Research Institute. Again, it's an ABCD type of question, but again, this was there in the news consistently. It's a question about an international report known as a Global Forest Watch report. And if you look at the news cycles consistently, you know it is published by the World Resources Institute. So even if you don't know about it, try to remember right now that the Global Forest Watch report is published by the World Resources Institute. We'll look at the explanation. The answer is A. In the explanation, Global Forest Watch or GFW is free and simple to use, enabling anyone to create custom maps, analyze forest trends, subscribe to alerts, or download data for their local area or the entire world. A dynamic online forest monitoring and alert system that empowers people everywhere to better manage forests. The World Resources Report is the flagship publication of World Resources Institute. The inaugural edition and assessment of the world resource base that supports the global economy was published in 1986. Subsequent editions have been published at regular intervals and have been provided an in-depth analysis of issues ranging from the human health and the environment to climate change, ecosystem services, and environmental governance. The World Resource Institute was established in 1982 with the headquarters in Washington, US. It is a global research organization that spans more than 50 countries and focuses on 6 critical issues at the intersection of environment and development, climate, energy, food, forest, water and cities, and transport. So that is the explanation about the World Resources Institute and the Global Forest Watch report and the general information about the World Resources Institute and the World Resources report. I hope you all understood this. With this, we will be going for the next question. Consider the following statements. Meteor showers are best viewed from the southern hemisphere areas in pre-dawn hours, cloudy nights, and when the moon is extremely bright. 2. Meteors are a sudden explosion of energy caused by tangling, crossing or reorganizing of magnetic field lines near sunspots. 3. The Perseids meteor shower is an annual celestial event. choose the correct code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, I can say that the meteor showers are best viewed from the southern hemisphere, maybe, maybe not. In pre-dawn hours, yes, quite possible, but cloudy nights when the moon is extremely bright, no. Meteors are actually rocks that fall or celestial bodies or astronomical objects that fall from the outer space inside the earth. They are what we refer to as meteors. They come inside the atmosphere and start burning up. So these are actually can be viewed only if there is a new moon or if the nights are really cloudless, so that you can get a better vision. So looking at that, I would say the first statement is absolutely wrong. Let's remove the first statement. You are left with option B 2 only and option D 3 only. The second statement, meteors are a sudden explosion of energy caused by tangling, crossing or reorganizing of magnetic field lines near sunspots. No, meteors are astronomical bodies that come and enter the Earth's atmosphere. So they are definitely not the sudden explosion of energy caused by tangling, crossing or reorganizing of magnetic field lines. So I'd say the second statement is also wrong. Remove the second statement and remove the first statement. You are left with just one option, that is option D 3 only, that is Perseids meteor shower is an annual celestial event, and that is also right. We'll go for the explanation with for answer D 3 only. The answer is D, and the explanation: according to NASA, these meteor showers are best viewed from areas in the northern hemisphere in pre-dawn hours. However, it may be possible to view the meteor showers as early as 10 p.m. Further, meteors are best visible on a cloudless night when the sky is visible and the moon is not extremely bright. Statement 2 is not correct because meteors are bits of rock and ice that are ejected from comets as they maneuver around their orbits around the sun. When a meteor reaches the earth, it is called a meteorite, and a series of meteorites, when encountered at once, is termed as a meteor shower. Solar flares are sudden explosions of energy caused by tangling, crossing or reorganizing of magnetic field lines near sunspots. The third statement, the Perseids meteor shower is going to be active from August 17 to 26. The annual celestial event is considered to be the best meteor shower thanks to the many bright meteors and fireballs shooting through the sky, making it easy for people to watch it from Earth. So that is the explanation for this question with regards to meteors. I hope you all understood this. We are going for the last question. The clause 6 of Assam Accord, sometimes seen in news, is associated with A. Framework to end insurgency in Assam and adjoining northeastern states. B. Granting citizenship to Bangladeshi immigrants coming to India after March 24, 1971. Protecting socio-political rights and culture of the Chakmas and Hajong tribes. D. Safeguarding the socio-political rights and culture of the indigenous people of Assam. So the clause 6 of the Assam Accord has something that has been in the news consistently, recently, and very frequently due to the various issues that have come up in Assam. And the clause 6 actually talks about safeguarding the socio-political rights and culture of the indigenous people of Assam. So taking that into account, it's a ABC type of question. We will learn about it if you have read the news, or if you have been someone who's been avidly watching the news consistently for the past few news cycles. You would know that the clause 6 of Assam Accords talks about the safeguarding the rights of the indigenous people of Assam, and I will go with option D to be the right answer. Even if you are not aware about it, let's look at the explanation and learn about it. The answer is D. Part of the Assam Accord that came at the culmination of the movement against immigration from Bangladesh. Clause 6 reads, constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards as may be appropriate shall be provided to protect, preserve and promote the cultural, social, linguistic identity and heritage of the Assamese people. For recognition as citizens, the accord sets March 24, 1971 as the cutoff. Clause 6 was inserted to safeguard the socio-political rights and culture of the indigenous people of Assam. So that is the explanation for clause 6 of the Assam Accord. I hope you all understood this. With this, we are concluding this video. This is CB Joy signing off. Everybody have a nice day. Thank you.